Hello guys, this is Waffle. I'm just going over some of the trades that I've posted in the last couple of weeks and some of the analysis I've posted and some thoughts on current price action. So if you remember back in mid September, we took longs here at 57.6 based on the reclaim of the quarterly value area low, looking for a complete traversal of the range up to 64k, and this trade went really well. Beyond that, what I was looking for was if we get continuation, the idea was that we should show strength here, break through 64k, and then sweep the previous quarterly VWAP since it's already been front run and tested before. And then price would be capped at the 66.1k MPOC. I think regarding that as well, so the MPOC here was at 61k. You also had the high volume node here at 66.5 region here. So effectively deviate 61, go back down to 65.3 and then just bounce around that region. And then if price shows any sort of strength, we'd end up filling the full quarterly value area up to 68k, 69k, lines up with the yearly value area high as well, and a sweep of the crowded poor highs here, and the imbalance and whatnot. But then the downside was that if there's any sort of weakness here, we end up going back down to 64k and 62k with an eventual target at 60.2. And then regarding the trade execution at that bracket region, so you see how we end up hitting 65,300, and then we end up deviating up to 66.5, which was the high volume node we talked about, and the MPOC region. Price starts bracketing in this region. During the weekly open, before the weekly open, sorry, I stated that this was my plan here. Any weakness within that internal high, we end up going down, sweeping the poor lows here and the poor lows here, and then any sort of acceptance below those poor lows here, we end up going down to 63.7, and I think it was also 63k, which would have been a mean reversion of the 7-day profile here. So regarding that whole, regarding the idea behind this, we formed a pretty nice distribution here on the 2-day composite profile, with poor lows at the value area low and poor lows here. What was kind of intriguing, or like what kind of piqued my interest there, was that Friday was a very thin move, and with these thin profiles, you tend to just smash through them. You tend to smash through them very quickly, right? And the next level of support here was the 7-day value area high. And obviously the POC here. So it was a weekly open, and I think it was close to the quarterly open, so you tend to get a lot of false moves. So false moves just literally means we've got poor lows here, we know that price is going to go down, right? But it's never that simple. We end up trapping buyers up here. So the idea was short 66k, look for sweeps of these lows down to 63.8 and 63k. And yeah, I mean, the trade went great. Shorted here. I took some aggressive partials at 65k, and once that weakness happened here at 64.3, which was the previous weekly VWAP, and that was kind of a signal that we'd end up going significantly lower. So obviously we ended up going down to 63,000. Regarding this, some of the nuances with the VWAP is that this was a pretty big range. It was a 2k range for a weekly, and these were all naked levels. Usually what happens is price is pretty responsive, right? So you tend to get the reaction that you expect. So naked level, big range. If you tap the VWAP here, you should get some sort of bounce, but you see once we tap the VWAP here, it ends up rejecting off of the old lows here and the old range high here. Which is kind of like your signal that, yeah, we're going to go down. But yeah, since we ended up hitting the mean of the old range and the previous weekly val, I was kind of expecting price would show some sort of bounce back up to 64k, right? And if price ends up bracketing here at 64.4 and 64k, we end up traversing here, and then any sort of rejection here would be confirmation that we go down. So I was kind of expecting, after such an aggressive dump, that we'd get some sort of retrace, right? But then the caveat here, since my system, as you guys know by now, is based on a bunch of what ifs, so you have a list of what if scenarios and you just act accordingly, right? Based on what price gives you. You effectively trade what you see, right? So if there's any sort of rejection here at 64k, the aim is the 52k anchored VWAP level, so 60.5, and the MPOC at 60.2. I think I drew out here, yeah. So any sort of weakness means any sort of weakness here, and you're basically taking out these lows down to the anchored VWAP, right? But then yeah, this is what it looked like on the TPO. So we did a mean reversion here, anticipating a retest of that high volume node here. So the high volume node kind of starts at 64.2 and 64.56 region here. And let me get a fresh chart here. All right, so we tap that 62.7k level, and we start climbing up, and yeah, we get the rejection of that internal high, and I think price went up to 64.1. So it tapped the base of the high volume node, and then we obviously get the controlled sell-off. Once that controlled sell-off happened, like I said, I was expecting significantly lower, right? I ended up seeing the reaction here at the 62.7k level, since, like I said, like below here, when we're not stopping until, I mean, eventually we stopped at 60.1, so the MPOC and the anchored VWAP level. Here I just took a pretty nice short here where I was expecting a tight validation, so it was 62.6 something entry with a tight stop loss here at 62.8, because if price is bearish, it shouldn't do that, you know? Like, price is pretty weak, you can take these kind of tight setups, right? Or I mean, if you're feeling a little bit more risk averse, you can increase your stop loss there. But I went for the aggressive entry here, and yeah, like I said, the aim was down here. I'm still holding some. I'm holding 25%, just in case you go lower. But I'll get onto that later. So regarding the short, that's how it looked, and you saw we ended up stopping at 60.1. So this is what it kind of looked like on the TPO as well. So again, like I said, like you've got your 7-day value area low. Anything below here, and literally you're not stopping until the POC here or the value area high here. I think we tapped that value area high first. I think it was like 60.7 area-ish first, or 61k. So I mean, roughly speaking, I think that was the value area high bounce of that profile that you saw, but eventually you did tap the POC. So yeah, I mean, these are two very good shorts. And I think even with that, you could have got a second entry here. I added to my short here when I spotted that weakness. But regarding current price action, we tap that low 60k level, right? And then obviously we get the rejection of the old range here, right? So this is again another sign of weakness, and what I'm kind of looking at the minute is, I'll clean up my chart first. So something that I'm paying attention to here is the quarterly VWAP, since it's the most applicable. I mean, we traversed the quarterly VWAP to get here. So yeah, I mean, on the quarterly open, we got immediate acceptance into the quarterly VWAP, and I mean, again, this is a pretty big range for the quarterly. So that whole thing I was saying earlier still applies. So right now we tapped the naked level. This has already been tested. We got the reactive bounce here, but then you see how price ends up rejecting the old lows here. I think the 7-day range was something like that. So yeah, we end up rejecting that. The expectation here is if price continues being weak, so like let's say we get another let's say this is the local high here, right? And we don't go any higher. The expectation is that we end up deviating the previous quarterly VWAP here into the yearly VWAP and the previous monthly VWAP. So we get essentially an SFP here, which would probably put us in like the mid 59k level, and then we end up cleaning higher, right? Or the second scenario is that we get like a mean reversion into this area here to fill the imbalances here at 63k, and then again any sort of weakness here, let's say we end up doing something like that, we get the whole deviation scenario, right? But then any sort of loss here at the previous quarterly VWAP, and I'm expecting a very quick traversal down to 56k area, 56, 57k. Basically SFP here, and then buy some spot here. I've already bought some spot on Ethereum at the minute at 2440, so I'm a bit underwater. I think my stop loss probably got taken out now, like break even. But the main idea here is we'll be looking for deviations here down to 59k. Otherwise we look at 56k. At the minute, I'm kind of thinking that Q4 is usually always bullish. We've got election cycle, all that kind of stuff. So we should just see, we should see a bullish Q4, you know. So especially with all the war going on as well, you want to buy the blood, you want to buy the dip. I think another kind of confidence I had was that there's this pretty big gap here on ES1 that should get filled out, I think. So I think this will probably be one of the main reasons why we might actually hit 56k. But yeah, at the minute I'm keeping my targets rather modest. I don't want to be too bearish. But yeah, long story short, the idea here is any sort of rejection at 62.3 or at 63k here, and we go lower. And yeah, these are the two areas to be looking at. But yeah, guys, if you want me to look at any specific coins, like I know ETH or any of the small caps, just let me know. I'll have a look at them whenever. I'll probably get some analysis done very quickly, so just let me know. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Take care.